again. He will not fight Lamont Roach again. He will not fight Tefimo. He will not fight, he will not fight those guys.
Overall, being something that he's not been in the ring with. I'm the total package, and honestly, sometimes I think he doubts himself.
He doesn't really love the sport of boxing. He's very good at it, but he doesn't really love it. And if you just kind of understand it from a job perspective.
Tensions exploded in the boxing world after Gervonta "Tank" Davis shocked fans with a cryptic tweet, "IDC for boxing, y'all can have the #1 spot." The statement has ignited widespread confusion and concern, leaving the highly anticipated rematch with Lamont in serious doubt. Davis's post hints at a possible exit from the sport altogether, a move that would not only disappoint fans but also cast a shadow over the legacy he's spent years building. Many saw this rematch as a crucial moment for him to reaffirm his dominance, and walking away now would leave many questions unanswered. Adding fuel to the fire, Lamont responded with a bold tweet of his own, "Tank is going to sleep this time." His message makes it clear, he's coming into the rematch more confident than ever and ready to make a statement.
Y'all, so I know y'all been seeing on Twitter that boy Lamont and Tank been going back and forth. And I ain't gonna lie, it's getting crazy, bro. Lamont talking that one stuff and Tank talking crazy. Tank said, "I don't care for boxing. Y'all can have the #1 spot." And that's why I said with Lamont going up against Tank, it's gonna bring, a different type of Tank out, because at first he said he was losing love for boxing. It wasn't exciting no more. But now that he's seen that Lamont was skillful and he had to go up against him and everything, and then he almost, could have got over low-key, and people running with that narrative that Lamont was getting over on Tank, he got to make an example out of him. And that boy Lamont Roach said that this time Tank going to sleep, y'all. He's saying this time gonna be different. Ain't gonna be no draw. You going to bed. That boy Tank said that he'll really pull up on Lamont right now. That's how much he ready to go up against Lamont. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. Now it's starting to look like the old Tank, where he's starting to go back and forth with his opponent and everything. And to be honest, like I said, I'm still standing on it. I think that boy Tank is literally go walk Lamont Roach. He obviously feeling confident because he back talking and stuff now. And we seen that he been in the gym rocking out with Calvin. And then one thing I do want to say about Lamont Roach, he keep on talking about that little moment he had where Tank took the knee. Tank said, bruh, it was because of Braid winning his. If you looking for a win or something like that, you don't even need to belong in boxing and trying to go up against somebody like Tank. It's like you're trying to find any way to say, I'm the winner. That's why I said, bro, this rematch is possibly going to be one of the biggest fights in boxing, because now they went from being like childhood, friends or whatever they was, like working in the same camp, to being rivals now. And one thing I want to say, y'all, is don't be surprised if this fight ends up like the Frank Martin fight versus Tank. Because y'all remember Frank Martin saying what he was going to do. He got dropped, bro. I think it's like the 6th or 7th round. I'm telling you, I can see that boy Tank actually taking Lamont out early.
Turmoil is sweeping through the boxing world as speculation grows that Gervonta Davis may be afraid to face Lamont Roach in a rematch. Fans and analysts alike are questioning his willingness to return to the ring for this high-stakes bout. Davis's recent public statements and apparent disinterest in boxing have only intensified the rumors. Critics highlight his history of avoiding tough rematches, notably never giving Ryan Garcia a second fight, and now many are asking, is Davis ducking Roach? Meanwhile, Lamont Roach is gaining momentum, growing more confident and vocal by the day. As the pressure builds, the boxing community is left to wonder, is Gervonta Davis ready to defend his legacy, or is he trying to exit before the real challenge begins?
We will never see that fight happen again. It just will not happen. Gervonta Tank Davis doesn't like hard fights. It's that simple. We've seen it over and over. He fought a Ryan Garcia drained. He fought a very inexperienced Rolly Romero. He will not fight Devin Haney. He will not fight Shakur. He will not fight Pitbull Cruz again. He will not fight Lamont Roach again. He will not fight Tefimo. He will not fight, He will not fight those guys. That's just not who Tank is.
Gervonta Davis's first fight against Lamont Roach left fans and analysts disappointed, with many questioning whether he still possesses the explosive power and sharp instincts that once defined his style. A key concern raised by critics was the absence of his longtime trainer, Calvin Ford. Without Ford in his corner, Davis appeared off-balance and unfocused, missing the strategic precision that had guided him through past challenges. The bond between fighter and coach is often the backbone of a boxer's success, and Ford's presence has long been viewed as a calming and tactical force in Davis's career. His absence in the Roach fight may have revealed cracks that had been quietly forming beneath the surface.
Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach goes to a majority decision draw, Tank retaining his WBA lightweight title. Now, I did not score this fight a draw. I had it 7-5 to Lamont Roach. I thought he had the ring generalship and effective pressure. He was landing the jab and effective combinations. Tank, as usual, had a very low output, and he was relying on one big shot. I gave Roach the first 3 rounds, Tank the next 3 rounds, and then Roach 4 the last 6 rounds to win the fight. Not to mention, Tank did take a knee in the middle of the fight. By rule, that should have been considered a knockdown. Yes, it was to get his mouthpiece, and that's why they didn't rule it a knockdown. But anytime a fighter takes a knee, that's a knockdown. And that would have given Roach 1 more point to win the fight. Now, I'm sure they'll run it back. Lamont Roach absolutely deserves a rematch. He just had the fight of his life. He wasn't scared to go toe-to-toe with Tank. Landing his combinations, the bigger counters, and the more effective shots. He definitely deserves a second payday. Now, in the co-main event, Gary Antoine Russell put on an amazing performance. I think he won 11 or 12 rounds against Ryan Valenzuela. Great hand speed, good combinations, masterclass to win the WBA title. And then in the featured bout, Alberto Puello beat Sandor Martin to retain his WBC title. He landed the cleaner left hands, definitely won the last 2 to 3 rounds to edge the fight. But overall, good card. I do think Roach won the fight though.
Gervonta Davis has often been criticized for selecting opponents perceived as low risk to maintain his undefeated record. When he faced Lamont Roach, many expected a routine win, but Roach defied expectations, bringing unexpected skill, resilience, and determination to the ring. The surprising challenge has sparked widespread speculation that Davis might avoid a rematch altogether. Critics argue that steering clear of a second fight could be a calculated move to protect his legacy, especially after the backlash he faced for his underwhelming performance in the first bout.
I think Tank been cherry picking for a long time, but I think Tank got the talent to be an all-time great. He just don't want to have a resume for whatever reason. So I think this is gonna force him to go see step up a little bit. It showed even his fans. It kind of took that allure off. Oh, this nigga not perfect. He can't just whoop anybody at. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, and I think Lamont should have won the fight on the technicality.
So,
if it wasn't a knockdown, the ref would have started counting. He started counting. Yeah. He only stopped. Hey, how old is he stop? He told that nigga no. I'm like, no.
So,
he was like, oh, my bad.
Yeah. You take away the jabs, Tank landed more. Percentage was higher. I'm all about connection, but I think Tank did a better job in the fight. I gave Lamont maybe one of the early rounds. After round 6 or 7, I think Roach put in very good work and kind of matched whatever Tank was doing, or Tank matched whatever Lamont started doing. The technicality, bro, that was different though.
For the first time in his career, Gervonta Davis was pushed to his limits, and it was Lamont Roach who delivered the pressure. Roach's performance wasn't just tough, it was arguably the most impressive showing any opponent has had against Davis, and in the aftermath, Davis posted a cryptic tweet saying he no longer cared for boxing, a statement that has only intensified speculation. Many fans and insiders now believe this could be a sign of fear, doubt, or hesitation to face Roach again. The notion that Davis might be intimidated by Roach's rising confidence and undeniable skill has quickly become one of the hottest topics in boxing circles, raising serious questions about whether the rematch will ever happen.
To override his decisions or knockdowns. Some skeptics have suggested that Willis's call benefited Davis unfairly, but we do not subscribe to that notion. In our long experience judging fights, we see no evidence of favoritism, only a referee prioritizing the physical safety of a fighter who appeared compromised by an eye injury. What? I understood that statement because, hey, look, Willis just didn't call it a knock.
You take a knee like that, that looks like a knockdown. All right?
So I think it's going to be very difficult for the New York State Athletic Commission to review this and then call it a knockdown. Because here's the thing. The fight could have gone completely differently if Gervonta was told that it was a knockdown officially. Gervonta could have then responded differently because, let's be known, Gervonta didn't even know it was the 12th round when it was the 12th round. He thought it was the 8th.
Got where he was at. He thought he was still in the 8th round. He thought he still had rounds to go.
12th round. He said, damn, it's the 12th? Yeah, it's the 12th and you're down. Tank didn't know what round it was.
If it was brought to his attention by Willis that it was officially a knockdown, the fight could have gone differently, making it very difficult to view this after the fact and overturn it. But the problem is, still, though Steve Willis did not call it a knockdown officially, he also didn't call it a slip.
You take a knee like that, that looks like a knockdown.
He had to pick one or the other. And according to the rules, if it's a slip, the
referee has to let it be known that it's flipped. Flip. When a boxer goes down and the referee deems it not to be a legal knockdown, they should immediately.
Round 9 of the Davis vs. Roach fight became a turning point when Gervonta Davis unexpectedly took a knee. The moment wasn't ruled a knockdown, leading to confusion and heated debate. The New York State Athletic Commission later revealed that a technical issue prevented proper ringside review, a revelation that cast serious doubt on the judging process. But it wasn't just the officiating that drew backlash, it was Davis's explanation. He claimed grease in his eyes caused him to take the knee, but many fans weren't convinced. Comparisons quickly emerged, pointing to other fighters, including women, who've battled through worse without folding. The crowd's reaction inside the arena was telling, with loud boos echoing after his justification. For a fighter once praised for his grit and resilience, this moment has become a blemish on Davis's legacy and raised uncomfortable questions about his heart when things get tough.
Fight fans listening to the moment, Tank Davis says that grease got into his eye, which made him take that knee in round 9. And then listen in as the fans immediately turn on Tank and start booing him. I have one question for Tank. Tank, we have female boxers. I couldn't find any evidence of them taking a knee.
I just got my hair done 2 days ago and she put grease in my shit, so the shit was like, you know, like when you sweating and things like that and the grease come in my face. It burnt my eyes type shit. Damn, why y'all booing like I'm saying bullshit? Like, this is real facts.
Despite, or perhaps because of, the controversy surrounding their first fight, anticipation for a Gervonta Davis vs. Lamont Roach rematch is reaching a fever pitch. With talks of the bout potentially being scheduled for August, fans are already circling the date in anticipation of what could be one of the year's biggest boxing events. The unfinished business between the two fighters has only added to the intrigue. In the build-up, Davis appears to be taking a calculated, psychological approach. He's been posting cryptic messages and dropping pointed comments in interviews, behavior many believe is aimed at getting inside Roach's head before they even step into the ring. These early mind games suggest Davis is determined to regain control and set the tone long before the opening bell.
Lamont is signed and ready to go for the rematch, correct? Y'all, Taylor plays so many head games, it's not even funny. Let me tell you something. Lamont Roach has never been this big of a fighter. Everyone knows Lamont Roach. So he could be reaping the benefits of just enjoying his status of having that draw with Tank, while Tank is the one, eye of the tiger. Tank is probably in the gym training his ass off, and then sign the contract like, all right, we got to fight when? June. Oh shit, let's hurry up and dash your ass. Sugar Ray Leonard did that to Roberto Duran. Duran was told that he had a fight in a couple weeks, and he was like, dude, I'm 190 pounds in Panama. Which is why Roberto Duran was out of shape in the No Mas fight and was like, no mas. So Tank could be over there working, sign the contract in 3 weeks, and all of a sudden Lamont Roach got to put a training camp together.
Lately, Gervonta Davis has been increasingly vocal about feeling burnt out from boxing. He's hinted at taking a break, even flirting with the idea of retirement. Yet, in the same breath, he's named 3 fighters he still wants to face before hanging up the gloves for good. The contradiction has left fans questioning his true intentions. Is Davis genuinely nearing the end of his career, or is he using retirement talk as a strategic move to build hype or gain leverage? One thing is certain, Davis is at a critical crossroads, and the boxing world is watching closely to see which path he chooses.
So Gervonta Davis names the only 3 opponents he wants to face before retirement, one being Lamont Roach, who he already is scheduled to fight next year. So you guys already know that he plans to leave the sport at the end of 2025, but he wants to fight Ryan Garcia again. This is exactly why he wants to fight Ryan Garcia. I mean, look at the abysmal numbers before he fought him, right? And then when he fought Mark, 350,000. This is where the big money is. Of course he wants to rematch Ryan Garcia. Then he says he'd fight Teofimo Lopez. Yeah, I do Teo. I left that out of it. Lopez is the current WBO super lightweight champion, has won the bout against Josh Taylor, which honestly very much surprised me. I thought Josh Taylor was going to win, but Teofimo Lopez showed his skills, his grit, his athleticism, really just proved that he belongs. You know what I mean? I would say I'd prefer to see the Teofimo Lopez fight, just because we saw him fight Ryan Garcia already. I know with that whole weight thing that he did to him, but honestly, I think Teofimo Lopez would be